All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get started. I'm excited about this webinar. This has been a long time coming. We have the core concept of this webinar is how to get $120,000 in a marketing grant in 60 days without having to risk any money. And I have the best nonprofit marketing consultants in the world on this webinar. We have the VP of Sales, Mr. Jerry Hoffer. How you doing today, Jerry?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for asking, Alan. How about yourself today?
I'm doing phenomenal. And if there's any background noise, we have a showcase at our office. But the good thing is you get to see Jerry and you get to see our new office. You guys like the money background? You know, it's fitting for what we do. So in the next 60 minutes, here's what we'll go through. We're going to show you guys some case studies. I want to let you know a little bit about Jerry so you can meet him and what his team, the incredible things they have been able to do. And then we're going to get into the science. Who is eligible for this particular grant? And every webinar Wednesday, we segment on one particular thing, right? So there's no confusion. We'll go over how to get it and then the different things you need to do to stay compliant. And what everybody's on here for is to, right, make money and help your foundation expand your impact. So over the next 60 minutes, again, how to get a $120,000 marketing grant in 60 days without having to risk any money. So, and at the end of this, I know you'll ask, hey, well, if we want all this done for us, is there a way to do that? Absolutely. At the end of this, Jared and I, as promised, we'll give you an offer that you cannot refuse. So let's get into it. Without further ado, I want to show you a few case studies. And Christchurch. Tell us about this one, Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. Well, Christchurch is it's a church in the Cincinnati market area, and they recently came out with brand new online church services. So they wanted to try and get the word out and try and connect with more people. They ultimately ended up leveraging through our services the Google Ad Grant, and in their case, it's led to a massive increase in online viewers. They're getting many donations through their website where they weren't before. Literally several $1,000s worth of new donations monthly. So it's been extremely impactful, and it's also enabled them to promote a lot of their different marketing initiatives, like their outreach programs. Connect with people that maybe they're going through divorce and are looking for divorce support groups. So the beauty of it is it's helping all with their marketing initiatives. So they're loving it.
Phenomenal. I'm very involved in my church, and I know that resonates with a lot of people. And just right there, in the first 12 weeks, $18,000 in online donations alone, not counting the volunteers, not counting the extra people that came in and donated at the church. We're talking online donations. So that's phenomenal. Excellent case study. Another one, Access Health.
Well, yeah, Alan, this is a real good case study. I'm not sure if we have any folks in our audience today that are from healthcare or not, but many of those that are in healthcare assume that they're not eligible for the grant, and that's not the case.
Yep.
Over the past 18 to 24 months, we've been able to get FQHCs and other healthcare organizations into the grant program. Access Health is one of our newer FQHCs in this program, and they've really just been into the grant program for 3 or 4 months, and they're using it. Their main concern is trying to make sure that their services are available for the underserved, those that can't afford healthcare.
Yep.
So when people are searching online, things like Medicaid providers near me, family doctors in Fort Bend, Texas that take Medicaid, walk-in clinics near me, it's serving their ads up. So they've been ecstatic, really happy. Very quickly, they're seeing, well, a confirmed 43 new patients monthly through the grant. And we think it's actually much higher than that.
Yeah, so 43, somebody needed to hear that, Jerry. This grant alone got them 40. Think about what one patient is worth to your nonprofit and the impact that you're creating. 43 in the last few months. That's incredible.
On the average FQHC, and we work with over 200 health centers nationally with this grant.
Yep.
And the average health center tells us that revenue from a new patient is usually several $100s. Not to mention, if I come to a health center, there's probably a good chance that my wife and kids will be coming as well. And we don't really even talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, a incredible case study. And where are veterans at? I know there's veterans all across the land. I was actually with the mayor of Prairie View yesterday, and they're trying to do a lot for the veterans in Waller County. And if you look at this is not far-fetched in some other land. This is right here in Houston. We're talking Fort Bend and Waller County, American homeless veterans. Tell us about this case study, Jerry.
Well, yeah, the beauty of this grant is that no matter what kind of nonprofit you have, there's a real good chance that this grant will be a great fit for you. It could support for pretty much any of your marketing initiatives. Now, of course, veterans have a cause that has a wide appeal. For the American homeless veterans, they wanted to get into this grant program so that they can create more awareness for their cause. And Alan, I mean, most nonprofits that you talk to, isn't it a common theme that you're typically hearing is, gosh, I wish more people were thinking about us, right?
We have this great thing. I wish people knew.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of this. And in fact, half of the nonprofits that are leveraging this grant, and a little bit more about us at the Charitable Resource Foundation. So we've been working with nonprofits for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
We got our start as a traditional fundraising company. So we still have calling centers that work on behalf of nonprofits and thank people for their past support. But this is our latest initiative. Well, how people communicate's really evolved, and a lot of this conversation is taking place digitally. So we've evolved as well.
Yep.
American homeless veterans, we've got a long time relationship with them. We still have, calling centers that call on their behalf and thank people. But then, we've been helping them with this grant, and they've been loving it. They've been seeing a ton of new donors coming, finding their cause when they're searching online and donating through their website. The fact of the matter is people today, many people prefer to donate through websites. So if you're a nonprofit and you don't have your website set up and you're not getting many donations through your website, well, then we definitely need to talk.
Yeah, and that's why we're here. So this is the whole age of digital transformation. And if you're not there, you're going to be left behind. You don't want to be the BlackBerry of your industry, right? So that's what we're talking about here. And this grant's going to help. I'm going to show you one more case study, and then we're just going to get into not only what we do, but why we care. And Jerry alluded a little bit. Tell us more about that last one. It was exceptional. There's a lot going on with our veterans as they age, with our baby boomers. That's going to be a phenomenal offering. So open door services.
So the health centers that we've been able to get into this grant program, Open Door Health was actually the first.
Okay.
Honestly, they're not real far from us here in central Indiana. So it's really just been the last 18 to 24 months, somewhere in there, that Open Door Health has been enjoying this grant. And for them, this grant has meant at the very least, it's meant at least 3,000 very relevant people finding their website monthly. It's just a ton of traffic. So they've had this grant somewhere between 18 to 24 months, and they're using it to promote all their practice areas. They're getting tons of new patients from it. Of course, they're like a lot of health centers in that they have challenges tracking. We know we're getting lots of people finding us through the grant. Exactly how many, we don't really know. The beauty of this kind of marketing is that it's really transparent. Digital marketing, we're able to follow the path of the user from we show the ad, somebody clicks on it, and somebody donates money, or somebody books appointment through the website. But anyway, Open Door Health is making that, they're in the middle of that journey right now where they're trying to update their website so that they can do things. They can track how many people are booking appointments for dental and so forth. But nonetheless, if you talk to Katie at Open Door Health, she's going to tell you that the grant's been the best thing since sliced bread for them, and they love it.
Phenomenal. And we try to do all of this, I mean, in the beginning, so they see, hey, Jerry, this is a real thing. These are real organizations that have got this grant. These are real case studies. It's not your first, I'm in Houston, so it's not your first rodeo, right? We just didn't start this. So let's jump into who this is for and why we're doing this. So this is for, you may be a community outreach executive, you may be a church, you may be working with veterans, you may run a large nonprofit organization that helps with entrepreneurs starting businesses who may be women, they may be other veterans, you may be a healthcare professional. The reason why you're probably on this is you have tried some things in the past and they haven't quite panned out the way that you want. You probably saw a marketing grant. You didn't know what that was. And we're going to explain that to you. But this is something, right? When it comes to grants, everybody wants to get their organization off the ground. They want to get that impact. They promised their friends, their family, their brother, their mother, their sister, their cousin that they were going to get this off the ground. And, you know, if you don't do something different fast, not so good things are going to happen. So we're going to go through what our process is, how we're able to do this, and then show you how you can take advantage of this and do it risk-free, right? Without risking any money. I didn't say not paying any money, not risking any money, right? Without losing it. So the core concept again is in order to get a $120,000 marketing grant, you're going to need a few things, right? The first thing is you're going to need an active 501c3. You're going to need some signature programs. You need a nonprofit website, a current fundraising flow. And if you don't, we can help work with that, and a grant funding system. And I know somebody on this webinar is probably saying, look, what is a grant funding system? I've never really heard of that. And the truth is it's okay. It's not your fault. It's a newer concept. Something, again, that we weren't taught in schools. Right? But most professionals and nonprofit executives don't have the sufficient time, tools, and talent needed to really scale out grants and get the results that they want when it comes to fundraising with grants. So before we tell you what we do and how we do it, I'm going to tell you why we care, because I think it's relevant. Jerry has an incredible story. I'll tell you mine real quick, not to impress you, but just more to impress upon you, right? Why we love what we do. So my background is in enterprise software, right? I've sold for some of the largest, I was a regional sales manager for some of the largest technology and database companies and software companies. I sold ERP software against SAP and Oracle. I sold for Dell EMC. I sold MongoDB, the largest and first publicly traded company as a database to go public since the early 90s. But when I was in college, I found something that I was truly passionate about, and that was a nonprofit, right? Where I went to school at UTSA, there was less than a 6% graduation rate when it came to African-American males. So we said, look, there's got to be a way we can change this. Within, long story short, within about 3.5 years, we were able to increase that to over 38% through campus and community involvement, which was astounding, right? Incredible numbers. But we wanted to expand that to other areas, and we didn't have a lot of money. So we looked at grants. Grants were a huge opportunity to expand our impact. What we found really quickly is they're extremely hard to write. They're even more difficult to find. So I said, look, I was wearing the fundraising hat. I was running our programs. I was corralling and motivating our volunteers. So I paid a grant writer, and I said, hey, just handle this for me. And when paying that, there wasn't a lot of communication. There was no way to track things digitally. And eventually they took my money and I got burned, never saw them again. So I said, look, this is terrible. There's got to be a better way. I'm a millennial. There has to be an app, something easy to streamline this process. There wasn't. And that's when we created GrantSource. So over the last 4 years, through trial and error, we have created the #1 grant funding system in the world, right? And it's our system we call DAPS, which stands for Databases, Analytics, Alignment, Personnel, and a System License as a Service. And we have over 1,500 consultants in different specialties like Jerry, right? You want to get a marketing grant? Let's not go to somebody mediocre. Let's get the best at their specialty, because lawyers are, grant writers and consultants are kind of like lawyers and doctors. And then let's make it a flat fee and do it with investment protection. So that's our platform. So I'll tell you a little bit about Jerry and how he is just helping nonprofits all over the world. So Jerry, tell us about yourself, man. You're from Maryland, right?
Yeah, I'm actually a Midwest transplant. I actually grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania, a town called Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And went to high school with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, if you know him.
Yeah.
Of course, back then, I used to call him the Pebble back then. And
the Pebble.
Yeah, he got tired of me taking his lunch money. He started hitting the weights, you know. But at least that's the story I tell my kids anyway.
There you go.
My kids like that story.
Nice.
Actually, I'm sure it was the other way around. He was a man child at 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. East Coaster, went to the University of Maryland. Many years of experience in marketing. Been here at Charitable Resource Foundation for several years now. And to me, of all the different careers I've been, I find it very gratifying to be able to work with nonprofits and a variety of different causes.
Yep.
So although we work with over 200 health centers, we work with a lot of senior communities and a lot of organizations that work with disabled, we run across a lot of neat stories and neat causes. And to me, I find it very rewarding and gratifying. So that's a little bit about our background. As a company, we've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for nonprofits. Our background is fundraising, and we understand what that process looks like digitally, and we're able to help nonprofits with their, quite a bit with their fundraising online. So that's a little bit about our background.
I mean, so I'm going to highlight a few of these. Jerry's a very modest guy, but if you miss that, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And they are the #1 consultant for this particular grant, right? Nobody has a higher success ratio, and that's why we wanted to we only work with the best, and we're going to show you how to get it, how to find it, how to secure it, and most importantly, how to keep it. So thank you, Jerry, and the impact that you guys are creating is incredible, because for us, it's not just about the money, it's really about the impact that we're able to create, and the stories that you guys have are phenomenal. So let's go into a few things. What is a marketing grant, right? Before this, most of you probably never have heard of this. So an example is one of the grants that Jerry and his team really specialize in is a $10,000 a month grant, $120,000 a year. And in this last Q4, right, organizations need to give away money. They're giving away $10 million, right, in the next 60 days with this grant, right? So imagine the kind of success your organization can have with this kind of advertising dollars from Google. You're spending money on advertising anyway, and if you're not, and spending money on digital advertising, here is your chance, because you're missing a huge opportunity, because other organizations in your area that are doing something similar are doing it, and less than 2%. That's right, less than 2%. So there are about 1.6 million nonprofits, and how many people have this grant? What was it, 40-something thousand?
Yeah, less than 50.
Less than 50,000 out of 1.6 million nonprofits. Most organizations do not even know. So being on this call, you're ahead of 98% of the nonprofits in the US and Canada. So here's what we do as a strategy session. So once you come in, we map this out for you. We find grants that would resonate with your story, with your mission, with your impact that you're trying to create, whether it be marketing grant, green money incentives, government grants, foundation grants. After you choose a package with us, we'll map all this out for you and do all the leg for you. So talking about this marketing grant, give us a high level overview, Jerry. What is it? Who are these? Who is Google? People know who Google, but
everybody knows who Google is. I
there
mean,
you go.
over 92% of these searches in the US, internet searches, are going to be going through Google. Really, I liken it to today's version of the Yellow Pages, that thing that goes straight to recycling nowadays.
Yep.
It's pretty much how everybody finds everything. So there's 3.5 billion searches every day on Google. 1 in 20 of those searches are healthcare related. So
yeah, so let's do something here just to make it relevant. Let's dive in on one. So let's say healthcare, right? And let's make it specific to that so you can kind of see the flow. So let's talk about a healthcare agency here, Jerry.
Well, Alan, as we talked about earlier, we are helping over 200 health centers nationally with this grant.
Okay.
And so if I'm new to an area and I need to find a dentist, 77% of patients before they book an appointment are going to be searching on Google. So not only are they searching to see who's out there on Google, but they're also looking at third-party directories. And then to expand upon that, then you've also got to be concerned about what people are saying about you. And there are literally hundreds upon hundreds of different review sites. And your reviews on your nonprofit, if you provide any kind of services, will definitely impact whether or not people are going to use your services.
Yep.
So in the case of healthcare, over 1 in 4 people before they go and visit a doctor are going to be reading reviews about them. Okay.
Nice.
So another thing to expand on that, sometimes I hear from FQHCs and health centers that, the demographic of the folks that we're trying to reach out to, the underserved, they're not online. And that's a fallacy. Even over 80% of households that are in poverty levels are connected and have cell phones and internet. So the other thing is when it comes to the patient journey, I'm sure we all know somebody that, you've talked to somebody that's saying, well, I've got this crazy rash on my shoulder and I've got all this other stuff going on. I think I have Mongolian jungle rot or some kind of rare, So, people are self-diagnosing. People are looking for doctors online. They're reading reviews. They're trying to get validation that their treatment options that they're getting and recommended are right. So anywhere on the patient journey from these are my symptoms to these are my treatment options, healthcare professionals have an opportunity to connect with people anywhere along that journey.
Yep.
So
and Jerry, this is the same. So we're diving in on healthcare here, but if you're a church, if you are a community outreach center, before they visit you, there's going to be probably 10 to 15 digital touch points before they even see you in person, right?
Right. That's exactly right, Alan. As I was talking about Christ Church earlier, who's getting tens of thousands of dollars donated through their website through this grant. And in their case, they have a lot of outreach programs. So they'll have things like, if you're going through a hard time or a divorce and you want to talk to people, they have things like divorce support groups, cancer support groups, all those different things that they promote through this grant and try and bring people in and say, hey, here's our church, we can help you. Okay. Wow. So no matter what your nonprofit, what your marketing initiatives, there's a real good chance that there are strategies that can really help you with this grant. And the beauty of it is Google's going to pay for it.
This is phenomenal.
That's the beauty of it.
That is, that's beautiful. Google's $110 billion company. So why would they do this? They want tax write-offs too, don't they?
That's goodwill. It's goodwill. Most of the revenue comes from this type of marketing, which is what's involved with this grant, Google AdWords, pay-per-click marketing.
Yep. So not only are they doing well, it's not just about the tax write-offs, right? They want to do good, and social responsibility is something that's top of mind for them, right? For their number one revenue source. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's show them a few examples. So why do people really click on sponsored ads? I mean, you can just have anything in there, right?
Well, half of the traffic on the first page is always going to be on the sponsored ads. So I don't know if the nonprofits are on the call, if they've tried doing some searches to see if they could find themselves online, and not necessarily don't do the branded searches where you're searching your name. Like if I search CRF, there's probably a good chance I'll be on the first page here in the Indianapolis market.
Yep.
But what I want to be found for are things like digital marketing, um, agency that works with nonprofits, those types of keywords. And if you're not on page one, you might as well not even have a website, because on any given search, only 5% of the traffic will go beyond page one.
Yep.
So it's all about being at the top, and half the traffic is on these sponsored ads.
That is so true. I mean, I never go to the second page, so.
So if you are a healthcare provider, this might be a keyword search that would be very, very relevant to you. If you talk to Access Health in Fort Bend County there in Texas, the Houston market, or if you talk to Open Door Health, they're going to tell you that keyword searches like this: primary care doctors near me. And you have at the top, you've got some sample ads. It's denoted by a little green box that says ad. So a couple of notes about this type of marketing is these ads are triggered by very specific keyword searches. So primary care doctors near me is a different keyword than primary care doctors in Houston. Some of those keywords might cost pennies out of the grant. Some might cost several dollars out of the grant. It's basically an instantaneous auction for keywords. So part of what that costs is dependent upon what the market will bear.
Nice. Same with dentists.
Dentists near me. And the thing about these keyword searches, we could say, well, we only want this to appear in such and such a county, or in zip codes 46239, 46237. It doesn't get any more targeted than this. That's the beauty of this.
Nice.
So in the case of healthcare clinics, generally they have, most of them that are using this grant will have several different practice areas that they're promoting. Practice area being pediatric. We want to show a different ad for that versus dental. So yeah, works great for healthcare. Even if your whole goal and thought with this grant is, gosh, I want to create more awareness for the cause, I can assure you and I can guarantee you that this would be probably the best way for you to connect with more people that support your cause. And generally, it can be run, these campaigns can be, you might think that you're a regional nonprofit, but we have campaigns every day that are literally connected with people that, because they're sympathetic to the cause. The story I tell all the time is nonprofit in Texas. Alan, that'd be of interest to you.
Yep.
That works with disabled kids. They have after-school programs, summer camps, smaller, 500,000 revenue. Like most nonprofits, they're like, gosh, if only more people were thinking about us and we were top of mind to more people. And they told me this story where they got this big check that came from the Jordan Spieth Foundation, just came out of the blue through the mail. So don't know if you've ever heard the name Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, Texas guy.
Yeah, Texas, probably one of the best golfers in the world.
Yep.
Well, long story short, he has a foundation. He has a sister that has Down syndrome, so he's sympathetic to the cause. His foundation has marching orders to find other nonprofits that work with disabled kids. And they found this one that I'm referring to through the Google Ad Grant and made a big contribution. So that's just a story of, when I talk about fundraising, sometimes some of these connections could be with other foundations and pretty big organizations that can get behind yours if they believe in what you're doing. So that's the beauty of this grant. It's not just for the biggest of nonprofits. It's not just for certain industries, but generally almost any nonprofit can find a lot of value with leveraging this grant.
I mean, I can always find a lot of value with $120,000 a year, right?
Absolutely.
Of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, and here's
So,
a few sample grants. Go ahead.
just some sample text ads for other nonprofits. On the top right is the American Homeless Veterans, a sample of one of their ads. Bottom left is Open Door Health. They're another one of the organizations we talked about. Top left, Christ Church.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's just a few of the different sample text ads for other nonprofits using the grant.
Nice. Well, so after, and I know we always get a few questions, Jerry, so I want to get those after this first step. Are there other, and we know there are, yes, there's other marketing grants available, but the incredible opportunity here is this is 120,000. Yeah, there's other ones that are, 5,000, that are 10,000, 20,000. This is $120,000 for 1 year, and you can get it in 60 days, right? We're talking realistically, Jerry, right? A lot of people make huge claims. We're talking 30 to 60 days to get this in your hand, right?
Yeah. That's the average. The approval process for this grant is considerably different than any other kind of grant. It's complicated.
Yeah. So that's a good segue. Many of people, and like I said, as a gift for getting on this webinar, we'll give you a guide with all the information that was here. But can I just apply for this myself, Jared?
You can, but most nonprofits that start that journey end up calling us.
So we put some science. Yeah. So we put some science behind it. It's 19 point. So people that just try to do this your own, it's less than 19.8% success ratio if you do it by yourself. You have specialty consultants, you do it with us. We have a 92% success ratio in getting this grant. So, and here's the other thing. Once it's awarded, yes, it's $10,000, but do they say, hey, is it a year up front? Do you have to, how's it work? Jerry, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just broke up there for a second.
Okay, no worries.
So yeah, the beauty of this grant is that it's more or less a perpetual grant. Once we get you to this grant program, it essentially becomes our grant to lose, so to speak. So we just have to be concerned about maintaining eligibility. So long story short, Alan, there are nonprofits that we've helped with this grant for years. Don't need to reapply monthly or annually.
Nice. So we're talking, right? 120 could turn into 240 to turn. Think that's about exactly your marketing. Right. That's phenomenal, right? For one time, and then you just got to stay in compliance. So number two, step two. So we talked about what a marketing grant is. Let's talk about how do I become eligible. And notice I didn't say who is eligible because those are two different questions. There were people and organizations at the beginning of this webinar that probably jumped off when I said, well, this is for nonprofit organizations, right? My first question would be, if I'm not one, how do I become a nonprofit organization? If I'm not eligible, how do I become eligible? So let's go through that. And first of all, you need a strong foundation, and that you're going to need a strong mission. You're going to need to have a board of directors in place. And this is just Grant 101. You're going to need to have volunteers. You're going to need to have fundraising and digital transformation already started. And then grants is the icing on top. And this is astounding. Everybody has probably seen or heard of the show Shark Tank. And the first question they always ask, you probably know this too, Jerry. What's the first question they always ask on Shark Tank, right? How much money have you made? Because if you have made some money yourself, then I can supplement what you already have and invest in you. Same thing with funders. The good thing is with Jerry and the offering that we have here, we're giving you an opportunity to do that fundraising and digital transformation up front, and then also help you with the grants. That's the icing on the top. If you're just looking to get a bunch of grants and you haven't done anything, you haven't created a mission, we can definitely help you with that. If you're just doing it to try to get a tax write-off or something, we're probably not the organization for you. I'll just tell you that up front. So here's why it's important to have a consultant, right? Because at face value, there were some people that looked at this grant. I heard it a few months ago and they said, okay, well, I can do it myself. And you can. And they probably looked at this. This is straight from Google's website. If you go there, who's eligible? And they say, it says here, face value, not a hospital or a healthcare organization. Now, most people, Jerry, they look at that and they say, there's no way healthcare organizations don't qualify. How is it that your team has been able to help them qualify?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, if I were to read this and find this in Google support, I'm sure I would probably stop searching myself if I was a healthcare related nonprofit. And there's lots of restrictions and limitations on healthcare related digital marketing for pretty obvious reasons. I mean, would I want to be, a parent in the Houston market, my kid's having an allergic reaction, their throat's closing up, and I'm searching on my phone, hospitals near me, but all I see are ads for the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic and totally irrelevant things.
Yeah.
Kind of a broad example, but that's why some of those restrictions are in place.
Okay.
So the thing is unfortunately, many healthcare organizations don't have an opportunity to research this further and find that there's actually an exception to the rule, if you will.
An exception. We like exceptions.
Yes. So we figured that all out. We're pretty much the only agency that works with nonprofits that has figured out how to get healthcare organizations approved for the grant.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is where it all begins. So we not only are we at CRF a Google partner, but we actually have people in our team that sit on the board of directors of the Google nonprofit team. So we're pretty tight in the Google circles, if you will.
Whoa, Jerry, say that again. Yeah. So one thing my mentor told me one time is a good attorney knows the law, a great attorney knows the judge. So you have people that sit on.
So we know the judge.
You know the judge, man. Okay.
Yeah. So if you dig around in Google support a little bit more, you'll find this where there's actually an opportunity to apply for healthcare related advertising through the Google Ad Grant if you are a well-established nonprofit health advocacy organization. Well, that pretty much defines FQHCs. So
and the good thing around that, if there's an organization that's a healthcare organization, they have great impact, and they say, "Well, my pharmacy is not certified," what can we do?
We can get you pharmacy certified with Google to be able to promote on Google as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the value of working with a consultant. They are the best in the industry, and their executives sit on the board of Google Nonprofit. So here's one that would have missed out. I mean, if they just looked face value and weren't using a consultant, this case study would have never happened. So Access Health, right here in Fort Bend County, they're a federally qualified healthcare center. At face value, if they looked at that screen, they would have been gone and lost out on 43 patients coming through Google searches every single month. So here's another question about eligibility. And a question. Okay, so it's $120,000. What if we fall out of compliance? Do I need a briefcase full of cash that I have to pony up to give Google?
No, see, Google just reserves a right to suspend or revoke the grant.
Okay.
So the good news is in the years that we've been doing this, we've never lost one of these grants due to compliance. And honestly, that's a real concern. That's a real concern, and that's why we get a lot of business. These things are challenging to manage to begin with, and it's a lot different than regular Google AdWords in terms of the restrictions and limitations and things that we have to adhere to be able to maintain eligibility. So we've got all that figured out. We make it easy. That's the beauty of this.
And you've never lost a grant out of compliance?
We've never lost the grant. So yeah, that's a great thing, and we're very proud of that. The beauty of this, so once people start working with us, we expect that we're going to have a long-term, long-standing relationship, and be on your Christmas card list for years to come, or or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll be on ours, $120,000. And here's when you do that, I mean, if you've never, another statistics here, and it's about, and you tell me, Jerry, I believe the statistic on that, 60% of these grants fall out of compliance because of the 5% click-through rate, right? Which is it's not easy to achieve.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly that is. So 5% click-through rate, Google, I don't really believe that I got into that at all.
Okay.
But basically, essentially click-through rate, if I show your ad 100 times, we have to have at least 5 people clicking on your ads.
I have that statistic.
It's Google's way of ensuring that you're showing things that people want to see. And that's important to them, and that's why everybody uses Google and why they have 92% market share.
Yep.
So they're happy to give you this $120,000 a year, but they want to make sure that you're running ads that people want to see and engage with. 5% click-through rate is no small task.
No.
Your average dental office nationally might average dental campaign might average 2-3% click-through rate. 5% doesn't happen by itself. And that's probably the fastest way to lose a grant. 30 days of not maintaining that click-through rate, and you're going to get a warning. 60 days of not maintaining that click-through rate, and it'll be corrective action, either suspending or revoking the grant.
60 days, not 60%. I remember hearing when I saw that 19th rate. Okay. Yeah, and that 60 days. And the thing is, once you can get into it, but once you fall out, and because of compliance, it is extremely hard to get back into this program.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you almost have to start a brand new organization, and you don't want to lose all the track record and everything that you've built up. So here's the flow, and we're on step 3, and we're in the home stretch here. So scaling up your fundraising and expanding your impact. So going through this, what you want to do, you want to get your visitor to a subscriber, to a supporter, to a donor, and an ambassador for your brand, right? And here's our action flow. So we make sure, just like a for-profit, we work with Jerry and his team to find you, just like product market fit, project support fit. So we use and we put these ads together with our consultants and find your problem, your mission, run that ad, right? And build those assets to where you can get some patients, some bookings, some leads, some donors in, so we can find that hypothesis. And then we also use that in an impact study to get other grants, foundation, corporation grants, even federal grant. We collect those impact studies, go right back, and this is a overall system that's optimized by digital technology. And then once we have that, we can build this out. You get all of this. You don't have to remember this in the strategy session and in our platform. It's actually one of our clients and councilman here in Houston. So here's the flow, right? And here's why it takes 30 to 60 days. You get your keyword research, your ad creation, your landing page development, and we can help with all of that. If not, these are the steps that you would need to take. You set up your account, track the installation, the testing, launch the campaign, you monitor the performance, and you have to do this every single week just to make sure that we're talking weekly, right, Jerry? Just to make sure that you stay in compliance.
Right. So really setting up for the grant approval, we basically have to show Google what your digital marketing campaign is going to look like.
Yep.
We're essentially doing steps 1 through 4, selecting hundreds upon hundreds of keywords, establishing bidding strategies. In step 1, some might be pennies for those keywords, some could be several dollars. Multiple text ads. Clearly, we want to show a different ad if you're healthcare, for example. Yep. If somebody's doing a dental related search versus a pediatric related search.
Yep.
Then none of this helps us if we drive a bunch of people to our website, but nobody calls you, nobody donates any money, nobody volunteers. Our whole process starts out with a deep dive into your website. We'll likely have some suggestions for you and your web developers. Hey, you might want to save this on your donate page. We found in our dozens and dozens of other campaigns that this is what works best. Okay, and then so we're essentially set all that up, usually 30 to 60 days that from signing on to when we start seeing the first ads. Then it's a matter of maintaining your eligibility. And Alan and I were touching on that a little bit earlier, maintaining compliance. And the biggest reason why any nonprofit's falling out of this grant program is by not hitting those minimum thresholds, the 5% click-through rate.
Yep.
Show your ad 100 times, have to get at least 5 people clicking on them. Might not sound very difficult, but as I mentioned, most campaigns will average 2 or 3% on their own. So you can't set this up and walk away from it. Yep. And expect to get new donors and anything good happening, expect to stay in the program.
And just because it works this month, Jerry, doesn't mean it's going to work next month, right?
That's exactly right. None of this stuff happens in a vacuum. This stuff is changing all the time. New competitors start bidding on keywords and want donations, and all kinds of stuff like that happens.
Yeah. So no, that's very important. And some of the other things that we're able to do, right, with the retargeting in this package. So when a user visits your website and they leave, the ad on your site can bring them right back to your website with retargeting, right? 70% more likely to convert on your website. So that's phenomenal.
That's exactly right, Alan. It makes a lot of sense that if you've had every month you get a few thousand people that find you because they're interested in things that you offer, not all that traffic's going to convert, but maybe then it makes sense to reconnect with those same people on Facebook, on Instagram, different platforms.
Yep, and get them right back in the funnel. And usually that would take a long time, but with the system, you know, you have $10,000 a month to redo that with. And then what we do is once we've scaled up that system, we found your impact, our team for each, and this is for each one of your grant projects, we take those same hypotheses that we've gathered with the fundraising and write foundation. We write corporation grants. You'll have a project manager that'll be along with you every single week to go through this with you to make sure everything's going. And then through the same ad copy that we've done within your fundraising, we'll look through our databases, right? And we have about 6 or 7 different databases. We'll run analytics based on organizations and founders that have given to missions like yours in the past. And then we will write a LOI or a grant to them. We'll also, you saw one of the councilmen there, we will get alignment and a letter of recommendation for a councilman, a mayor, a commissioner to go with your proposal. That way it goes to the top of the stack. We talked about knowing those and being politically aligned. And then the personnel will actually write these grants. Like Jerry and his team, they are the best at writing Google grants. We have another consultant and their team, they are the best at writing SBR grants. We have another group that are the best at writing federal grants for like the NIH and healthcare grants on the federal level. So we're basically Uber for grants. Wherever you are, wherever you go, we have the right consultants and you can deploy them at the push of a button, all licensed in one system. So some of the things that you can promote, and I know we need to wrap up here, volunteer opportunities, core mission, new patients, we talked about that, requesting donations, promote special fundraisers, and this is big, promoting events and awareness. And if you look on Google's page, some of these, Jerry, it says is a no-no. We're not just doing this for products or for events or for online sales, but you guys have found a workaround through that and been very successful with helping your clients do that, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of them will promote different fundraising events. Pretty much any of your marketing initiatives could be supported by this grant.
Wow.
Many of the healthcare organizations we work with, they'll have challenges hiring people, finding nurses, filling clerical positions, and they can leverage this grant, a portion of the grant for that.
So anything that you want for your nonprofit.
Pretty much.
Incredible. Yeah. So along with this, in the software too, not only do we help you, if you'd like our help, we also have this cool tool in there that'll help you manage your SEO, your reputation, your digital asset management in one portion, and it's all a part of the package that reaches out to multiple touch points. If you look back in the past, right, everything was on print and, you know, web and email. If you look today, it's all about social, directories, chat, voice. Everything is mobile first. So you can do all that with our software at one click of a button. You'll get weekly reports on your Google Analytics, your conversion reports, and this will go straight to you every single week. You can access it. So the key points is we want to make sure we've isolated your niche, and for every dollar we spend, our goal is to get about $5 to $7 back. The Google Grant summary, $120,000 in a year. You can get this within 60 days, push an average of 3,000 relevant users, and increase all the things that we just talked about and build a targeted audience. So really quick, how long does this take? Again, 30 to 60 days. We have a 92% success ratio in getting this. These paid ads will work. And here's the big thing. And a lot of people on this call will say, okay, well, what if this doesn't work? 100%, like we said it would. Well, the good thing is, if it does not work, our success with this marketing grant right away, and with all the packages we're about to show you, if it doesn't work, Jerry, they don't even have to, they can stop paying us, right? And if they don't get the grant, it's contingent upon them getting the grant, correct?
Well, that's exactly right. We guarantee their grant approval. The other thing is although we're high up in Google circles, we're still not necessarily Google. So I can't tell you definitively this grant's going to be here in 2 years, for example. But we expect it will be. But if it were to go away in a few months, well, then in theory, we would too. So our services are entirely contingent on the grant.
Yeah. So, like I said, investment protection. So we want to make sure your investment is protected. And if you do not, receive this grant, we will continue to write other grants, but we'll give you a credit for what you paid on this and keep on moving forward. So option one, and we're wrapping up here, you can do everything yourself. You can research everything. The biggest thing is you can try to get this grant. Like I said, it's less than a 20% ratio from Google, like I said, but CRF has a 92% success ratio, and it's not about getting it, it's about keeping it, because you will kick yourself if you try to step over dollars just to get some pennies and you lose this grant trying to do it yourself. Option two is you do everything with us. We have a 12-month subscription that will work. It's very cost effective. Here's a little bit about what we've done and wrapping up here. Churches, nonprofits, healthcare centers, veteran homes, we've done it all. We've been all across the country at multiple conferences. We're very politically aligned, whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat. Like I said, we've built basically Uber for grants. All of our professionals have either got $1 million in grants, they have 3 years of experience, and they're part of a major association. In Jerry's case, they've got $100 million in grants for their clients, which is exceptional. We've been in all over. We just expanded to Canada. As you see, one of our clients at a conference shooting a money gun, but we were recognized in Toronto. Here's some of our customers. Here are more customers that are actually using this Google grant. There's over 200, as Jerry said. If you go to aws.amazon.com/startups, we are featured as one of the top Amazon hot startups with an accelerator. So here's what we got. I just say that to say, here's what you're going to get. You start your digital marketing and all in one place. It's seamless, and you have everybody to do it for you. And you can check everything on your app without having to lose your money. You have trainings in there, you have templates, you have a one-on-one call with your project manager every week. And here's what it is: it's databases, analytics, alignment, personnel, and a system license as a service. So it takes about 12 to 20 hours to manage this, to do the weekly uh, bidding, to do the A and B testing, but we've made it easy. We've put this all in one package for you and made it extremely cost effective. We're able to do this. If you just want to do it yourself, that's fine. But we would really, our most popular package is for us to manage everything for you. And we're just talking $2,500 a month. And our fundraising goal is 250,000 to 500 grand a year. Remember, with that, you're going to get 10 grant projects, right? Right away, we're going to do those first few things. We're going to start with the Google grant, and we're going to find the correct keywords. We're going to optimize your pages, get you that grant. If you do not get that grant, we'll even give you a credit for the difference, right? That's how confident we are, because we do our homework up front to make sure you're a good fit. You'll also get 6 foundation, corporation, celebrity grants. You'll get 3 green money incentives, right? And we'll do the weekly compliance. You'll get a report every single week that you can access within our platform via mobile or via web. Now, if you want us to take it a step further and also fully manage your social media, that is $5,000 a month, right? And all these are a 12-month subscription. If you look at the price below, you get a price break if you pay everything up front. And we can do that with a nonprofit partner that we have, charity charge. You can charge everything up front and pay a minimal down payment if you put it on a card. And that way you can get all these projects done up front. We can get them done as fast as possible and get your grant money in and do it again, get your fundraising started. So the one that people usually go with, the one that makes the most sense because it's fully managed, is the $2,500 a month package. And that's to do everything. You get the software, everything is fully managed. We'll get you $120,000 worth of Google advertising in the next 60 days. And if we don't, you have investment protection, and this is contingent upon that. So really it's risk-free, right? So that's what we have. That's what we do. Now, for those of you that want to take advantage of this, raise your hand if there's anybody out there that would like to take advantage of this. We can send you this link. You can pick the package that you want. If you already know the package that you want, you can, you just have to pay your first month. We'll get you in a strategy session and get you off to the races. Now, Google's giving away $10 million in the next 60 days. And as you see, that'll add up and be exhausted pretty quickly. So we're in a race, and we're only bringing on 20 new marketing accelerator clients each month for this, because it goes fast and it takes time, it takes work. On your end, Jerry, I mean, the onboarding process, it's not instantaneous, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking a couple weeks to get on this. If you know this is something you want to do, but not sure what package you want to go with, you can put down a $500 deposit. And even when we get to the strategy session, if you don't like what you see, we'll refund you your money. We haven't had to do that yet because what we have has so much value around it. But if you're on the fence, you don't know what package you want to go, but you definitely want to work with us, put down that $500 deposit. I'll send that link to the people that raise their hand. And then from there, we will go and book your strategy session. So that's what we have. That's what we do. Again, we're only taking on 20. Any questions Anything that I didn't cover, Jerry, I want to make sure we're right at the top of the hour, that we're efficient with everybody's time. Anything I missed?
Well, I want to think we did a pretty good job in covering the basics with the grant.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly I'd be happy to field any questions that somebody might have that regarding how it might be applicable to their nonprofit.
Excellent. Well, I know we're right at the top of the hour. If we have any questions, final questions, let me know. If not, you can always email. You can email Jerry and I'll send everybody's information out, and I will send you the link once we're done here, and we'll go from there. I appreciate everybody getting on. Jerry, thank you for your time, man. I'm excited about this package.
Hey, my pleasure entirely. Thanks for having me, Alan.
Phenomenal. Well, everybody have a blessed day. And remember, it's not about the money. It's all about the impact. You have a great one.